Hello and welcome to Talking Heads. Today, Evan and I are back. It's been a while, Evan. Last time I
It's
saw you
been
was
too
Enterprise
long. You've
Connect.
been working way too hard. You're
I,
moving my properties all over the world. I can't keep up with you. Like, what's next? A private jet, or what's going on
I
here?
guess I'm going around like the Tasmanian devil. You got to come in after me and like fix all the damage I've been doing in all these companies. But Enterprise Connect was just a blur. It was absolutely crazy. But I'm looking forward to getting back into our groove with our podcast. I guess records have groove. We're gonna make records here with grooves. Um, we got Brad Hintze today from the CMO over at Crestron. That should be pretty interesting. But what did you think of that Enterprise Connect? I mean, I saw you at least 2 or 3 times there.
I think Enterprise Connect was the wrong name. It was the Enterprise Chat GPT show, for all intents and purposes, and
Yeah,
it
my,
was
my, my
really
joke has been
AI all the
OpenAI wants
time.
best of show.
But you had the emerging tech and innovation forum. So how did that go? Who won the
Oh,
best
Innovation
of
Showcase was
show?
awesome. I might be a little biased, but honestly, I'm pretty sure the Innovation Showcase is always the best session at Enterprise Connect. Again, maybe it's because I run it, but we did Wednesday morning. We've always done Monday morning. We had Wednesday morning. First thing in the morning, 8 o'clock. I'm thinking no one is going to show up at 8 o'clock. I mean, I was exhausted, but we had a pretty full room. We had 6 wonderful companies. I've written about them on No Jitter. They did their the 6 minute presentations are a little tricky, and some of these companies are like, I can't possibly describe everything in 6 minutes. And like this one guy gets up there and like does everything in two. It's kind of like hold my beer type of thing. But anyway, it was a great session, and very very pleased with the innovation show. I was really pleased with Enterprise Connect in general. It just took me about 4 days to recover. It was crazy.
Yeah, you look
Um,
pretty exhausted, but innovation isn't just for small companies. Today, we're going to chat with Brad at Crestron and welcome him up to the show here. Brad, how are you?
Great. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Well, thanks
it's
for being
great.
here. Maybe introduce yourself to the audience. Where are you from? Where are you now? And tell us about your career trajectory at Crestron.
So I joined Crestron a little over 2 years ago as the CMO. EVP marketing. So thanks for Dave for giving me a promotion to CMO. Yeah, I've been at Crestron for 2.5 years. Before that, prior to that, I was really involved with residential at Control 4, residential smart home and automation. And then before that, a number of software startups, development tools, SaaS and integration tools, e-commerce, mobile applications and kiosks and MDM, all kinds of fun stuff. And it's been great to be here at Crestron, especially in this moment where you're bringing to bear the whole Crestron ecosystem with all these new trends in modern work and UC, and been having a great time here.
Well, I actually, Evan, I actually met up with Brad and the Crestron team in Barcelona at the ISE show. Evan, I think I sent you some photos. I mean, they had a booth that was bigger than, a typical Walmart. It was absolutely insane. And I've never seen booths this big. And they had all these different things within their booth. One of them was like a 15-person conference room that was on display within their booth. That was just like one little part of it, but absolutely insane. The whole show had booths or like stands, or if you're on the other side of the ocean,
Stands, yeah.
But I've never seen stands or booths this big in any conference, and these were just extraordinary. And so you guys went all out there, and I was really impressed because I've got kind of Crestron improperly siloed in my filing system as they do this and that and that, and I was really quite surprised at what I had seen in there. So we're excited to have you on the podcast to talk about this a little bit. So we're going to talk about. I think I don't know you, Brad. You tell me what you want to talk about, but I want to talk to you about this One Beyond stuff that you were showing
Yeah.
in the booth. And so let's just start off with some basic introductory stuff. One Beyond is a company that you acquired. Why would Crestron, the maker of electronic curtain controls, buy a company called One Beyond? What were you thinking? What was going on? What was going through your head?
Well, it's a good question. We had a lot of internal debate about it, right? And we like to our Crestron has always operated in the mode of let's leverage our internal domain expertise to build really fantastic products that can pull technologies together to make the experience in a meeting room or in any space really simple and easy to use. And that started with control. And then we started bringing in AV, audio and video. And then, of course, some of the environmental stuff, lighting and shades and all of that's important too. And then about 5 years ago, we started getting into the video conferencing game with one solution. But now with the just exploding embracing and use of video conferencing, we knew we needed to add camera and intelligent video expertise internally. And we could go build it, or we could bring in a really talented team that already has a really good head start with intelligent video. And so that's what led us to do something which was actually kind of rare for Crestron, which was to acquire this technology and bring the team in so that we can have that engineering expertise. Now, of course, we get the existing products, right? But that also puts us on a path where then we can do even more great stuff with that expertise and building on top of that technology and bringing it in a more integrated way to the rest of our ecosystem.
Well, that was the first available. Maybe it's not. When I saw it in January, was that available or was that a preview? Let me make sure.
No, that was right. It's available. It's been shipped,
okay.
Right?
So that was the first available multi-camera system I had seen, and then of course Evan and I were just at Enterprise Connect last week or a couple weeks ago, and at Enterprise Connect we saw multi-camera solutions from Microsoft, from Cisco, and from Zoom. So you were kind of ahead of these guys. You guys are shipping this multi-camera stuff earlier. And so clarify again. Is One Beyond the brand you're using, or is Crestron the brand you're using? And what exactly do you name this multi-camera meeting room solution?
So the meeting room solution, the cameras today and the intelligent video software, the technology that is under the brand One Beyond. Right. They were available in the market under the One Beyond label. You order them today, it'll come with a One Beyond name on it. But it does plug in natively to the rest of the Crestron ecosystem. And what we showed there, we showed the site, we call it the Sightline experience, which is really the kind of a really representative experience of what can be created when you pull all of these technologies together to really create a fantastic meeting room experience. The cameras, the multi-camera view, the outside looking in was one part of that experience that was really powerful, certainly. And you see a lot of people chasing down this path for good reason. That's what customers want. And that's what they need to have these really effective meetings. But it also included the displays around the room, leveraging our video distribution and control technology also. And we think that when you bring all of these elements together, and you have to experience it, why we built a 15-person conference room on our stand, you have to experience it so that you begin to understand what it can do for you in a meeting. And some of this stuff, when everybody was locked away in the pandemic, we started pontificating around, what do we need now in this newly, expanded hybrid world? But then you start getting more and more people in the office, but not everyone. You start experiencing different kinds of challenges, and how do you help solve them, right?
Evan and I pontificate a lot, actually. Evan and I were just pontificating recently about new ice cream flavors that need to be invented.
But you guys have been in this game for, I think, 4 decades at Crestron. Is that right? In automation and control technology. And this must be the most exciting time in that journey when you look at the blurring of the workplace and the home. the office smart building and the smart home. Do you see these things coming together, in a meaningful way, or do you still see the dividing line between the two?
Well, I think that they are coming together. They need to come together. They have to. I think that if you really want to create a compelling experience that everyone in an enterprise or a business can feel comfortable walking in and using, right? How do you set up so you can have a meeting without needing to think about the technology in the meeting? In the meeting, you can just focus on the purpose of the meeting. In order to accomplish that, you got to bring all of these things together. And we do feel like Crestron is in a unique position to do all of that, to bring it all together, to create that experience. Not only do we have the technology, but we have the channel. We have the professionals that are trained on Crestron that are already calling on these customers. They know how to deploy this. And so, we do feel very fortunate to be, to have all these things come together at this time.
I think it's interesting that 4 vendors have basically launched a multi-camera type of solution for the meeting room in the last few months, and they're not even similar. They're all 4 companies are doing it very differently in their approach. Where did this come from? I mean, why did all of a sudden the video gods decide that we needed a multi-camera? Was this a breakthrough in technology? Was it? What do you think is causing this?
I think I think it's probably more the arms race that is happening today because there's so much demand. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's trying to trying to solve the various problems that are introduced by hybrid work, and actually just this move into more flexible working. It's become clear you can't solve it with just a video bar on a wall. Right. And as organizations get back to work, as they try to bring people in and keep their teams really focused and productive, they encounter these new challenges. But because there's an arms race now by all these vendors, like how can we capitalize on this market the most? You see these various ways that people are coming at it. Great. It's awesome. I think it's a good thing for our industry, right? The opportunity, hybrid work has driven people to embrace video conferencing in a much deeper way. And our industry can step up and innovate and create really great solutions that keep it that deeply penetrated. And I think it's
all right. I'm going to put you in the spot here. I'm an analyst, and so people lie to me all day, all the time. So I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to push back on this and give you a chance to defend this because certainly the industry has decided that the world needs multi-camera solutions in their meeting rooms. Is there any indication whatsoever that the enterprise is asking for multiple cameras in their meeting rooms?
Yes, I have. Now, let me qualify that a little bit. We get questions along those lines. And in fact, since ISE, our experience center is booked solid for all of April, doing demos of the multi-camera technology. And this is of enterprises raising their hands and saying, I want this, right? We have major enterprises today that are deploying it, right? We have a major partner that, a big brand name in the services that has it as well. And we're bringing customers there. So I think that, yes, there are corporations that are coming in. Now, they're not coming in and they're saying, I need multi-camera. They're coming in and saying, I have a space that's like this, and I need to enable a meeting like this. And our answer then is multicam. Here's this experience. And so that's why I qualify it. They know they need it. Some people are asking for multicam specifically. Others are just describing the problem, and we're putting multicam out there as a solution.
Interesting. So in this shift to flexible work, hybrid work, whatever you want to call it, where do you see your customers settling? What's the balance or the flow between work from home and in office? So what's your anecdotal feedback so far, would you say?
Yeah, I know it's a debate that we'll probably be having for at least another couple of years. Our perspective, though, is within an organization, if you have one person that's remote, it doesn't matter. You got to enable flexible working in terms of you're going to have meetings that will likely have a remote participant, and so you need to be enabled for that. Right?
You got that all wrong, Brad. If you got one person remote, okay, you change the locks and you just celebrate. Well, he's gone.
Exactly. It's like if you're not here on the site for the meeting, then you don't get to participate. All right. But then also, like, how many companies are truly insular and only talk to their own employees? Right. Right. And anytime you work with a vendor, you work with a partner, you need those capabilities. So in our perspective, we don't wade into, or we don't have an opinion that, most companies should be on a 3x2 or you should be half and half or whatever. We know, and so we tend to make investments around the realities of what we know those enterprises or organizations will always need. And that is that they will always need to be able to include remote participants. But the thing that's also unique to Crestron is that we also know those organizations need to enable really effective in-person collaboration. Doesn't matter whether they're all in once a week, once a month, or even once a quarter. When they're in, that's a high-value meeting, and you need to be able to have effective collaboration, wireless presentation, the AV needs to work, you need to have the space to do all that. So that's what we bring uniquely to the conversation. We're not only focused on the video collaboration and put a bar on the wall, it is that holistic, flexible working experience, which video collaboration is a huge part of, but it's not the only part.
So I'm guessing your plans got ruined, right? You were going to be the first to, or you were the first to market with the multi-camera solution, and that was going to be a big differentiator. Now everybody else has multi-camera solutions. So the question now is, if everyone has multi-camera solutions, how do you differentiate your solution? And is it hardware, software, or both, or what? How do you? Yeah, if it's now a standard issue apparently.
The word multicam is standard issue. Everybody has it. But as you pointed out earlier, right, the implementation is quite dramatically different. There are several core things that we lean on as those differentiators, right? Certainly the hardware, right? Optical zoom is really important, but also the software and the technology to track a presenter, to frame a speaker, right? To do it from far distances, 50 feet away, not just, 6 feet away or 8 feet away. So those capabilities exist for us today, and that's really critical. But when you think about everything else that has to happen around the video call, right? And how can you augment that experience? The video distribution that I talked about earlier, the control, the automation to walk in a meeting room and have it turn on, ready to go, so that when you sit down, it's a single touch, right? Our deep integration, of course, with Microsoft Teams and Zoom Rooms, those are really critical. That's where we're leveraging our domain and engineering expertise to add to the multicam experience and bring all of the value that we've got there combined together to really create that flexible stuff. Like you said earlier, we've been in those custom spaces, the meeting rooms, the town hall spaces, the divisible rooms, the ballrooms and all that. We've been in there for decades. We've been in the boardrooms for decades. Now we're taking it also down to the meeting rooms. So for the enterprise, we can bring all that together in one vendor, all the various meeting room types. And so when you combine all of that with the multicam, we feel like that's a strong differentiator. Do you buy that?
You can make the curtains open.
And you can make your curtains open. Sure. Totally.
This discussion has been very disappointing for me. We're already a third of the way in here. We have not mentioned artificial intelligence, machine learning, or chat GPT. Yep. But Brad, in all seriousness, what's the impact on, in your product development, process, or in your products of AI and ML and, the transforming the user experience and other things?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We as people that are paying attention to industry trends and all this, we've heard AI and ML for many, many years, right? Mm-hmm. And people throw it out there as a buzzword, but it didn't really reach the moment that it is now until you could see real valuable output, right? And the magic that you get, like, here, put in a prompt and create this text for me, right? And I used it this week on a little marketing campaign idea that I had, right? And so once you create a barrier, or sorry, not a barrier, a bridge from the promise of AI into a real tangible outcome, nobody cares, right? And ChatGPT did that. AI, now I've got this text output. In our world, that AI is really related to speaker tracking and presenting and group framing, but it also extends to analytics in terms of room utilization and space optimization, right? And making recommendations around how you might change the way you do those things, the way you make things operate, the health of a system, right? So that can inform your your space planning. But also, we're in the business of control, which means creating user interfaces that are easy to use. And how do you do that really super efficiently? And so you can see a world too, where you can use AI to help, in using simple language, not code, but simple descriptions to auto-generate a user interface that is directly custom to that room and that experience, which then therefore creates a more intuitive experience. So those are all of the opportunities that you can leverage with AI. Some of it we're doing today, some of it we're playing with.
So then is your role at Crestron limited to One Beyond, or is your marketing role broader over the whole portfolio, or what are you responsible for?
All of the whole Crestron, all of Crestron. So yeah, all of the meeting room technology, all of our commercial technology, but including the residential technology as well.
We got to talk about residential stuff because
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave has some tech support issues. He may have. His curtains are locked to closed, but
I know a guy. I know a guy.
Excellent.
Which would you say is growing faster, the smart home space for you, or the enterprise, or are they apples and oranges?
They're apples and oranges in a way. I think that over the course of our history, we've seen back and forth trends historically, where when resi was really hot, maybe commercial was a little depressed, and then 2008, residential really slowed down with the housing crisis, and commercial took off, right? And we were poised at that time, fortunately, with new technologies, NVX and our video distribution, and so we were really able to accelerate. At the beginning of the pandemic, residential took off, and so did UC, and so did demand for our other technologies. So we are in this moment where both have really kind of accelerated. Now, as we see in economic headwinds, residential is battling some of that, but we've got a really strong, durable business there too, which is really good. And we can continue to see really good demand for the rest of our technology also.
Crestron's a global company, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So talk about that. What's the culture at Crestron, and how do you encourage employees to be creative and come up with all kinds of new cool ideas, and give us a peek behind the curtain, pun intended.
It's a great question. I think one of the things I've loved about the culture here at Crestron is it's a culture that's always been centered on two things: taking care of the customer and doing the right thing for the customer every single time, and how can we use our experience and knowledge to build really great products, and that extends everywhere. And we've been for a long time, particularly on the engineering side, where you've got teams of people that are out there generating ideas rather than kind of this top-down dictatorial approach. But we also have a very engaged field team and channel team that's out in the market, right? We're not like a typical manufacturer that you just sell through distribution and you have no relationship with your end customer. And so that customer obsession, the being out there with them and in front of them, and then this culture, this engineering culture.
That's tricky. I mean, you're not a direct. I don't believe you're direct, right? You're going through channel partners. How do you stay in touch with your customers?
Well, we have started over the last several years investing more in building teams that can go direct to customer with our partners as well, our channel partners. And we think that is really critical. It unlocks opportunities for our channel partners, right? Because when they go in with the manufacturer, right, it adds added confidence for the organization to choose us and that partner. And so that's super valuable. But you also get major customers that are doing 5 and 10-year deployments in the tens of millions of dollars. They want to have a direct relationship with the manufacturer and know that they're making the right choices. So we've started to invest in those relationship management teams, those account teams that have that long-term engagement with the customer and with the pro partner. We think that is really, really important.
And is that the same for residential?
No, that we've not done that the same on residential, right? The scale is different. The type of relationship, the customers that, on the residential side, they rely so heavily on the channel partner for a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
you're a high-end residential. You're not, we're not buying your stuff at Home Depot.
No, totally. Yeah. Yeah. And while customers prefer Crestron, the brand, and they want it, many of them don't actually, and they rely on the recommendation of the residential partner to say, this is the technology you should use, right? And they're actually buying more into the relationship with the channel partner, right? And the service they provide, and the technology choices, unfortunately, sometimes a secondary choice, which is fine, right? And that's why our go-to-market in that
it becomes the primary choice, because I went with a different home automation. So this is old. This is 2008. And then I lost my dealer because he became a Crestron dealer, and I was like, he couldn't help me anymore. So, oh well.
Well, Dave has very particular requirements for home automation, things like fax machines and dial-up modems.
I was actually really surprised, because I wanted to find out more about residential home automation at that ISE show, but there were very few people that. I'm not even talking Crestron. I'm talking the whole show. Very few people that were able to talk really about home automation, residential. That's a business enterprise show. At least
it is. And speaking of that, you mentioned Microsoft is a partner. Maybe describe that partnership in a little more detail, and what other partners are you looking to integrate with or interop with?
Yeah, we have a really unique and valuable relationship with Microsoft. They've been a customer of ours for a very long time, time. In fact, 15 years ago, they came to us and said, hey, we want to be able to show the schedule of a meeting room outside of the room on a touchscreen. And so we jointly developed a solution for them as a customer. Well, fast forward today, they have Teams panel and software, and we're one of the OEMs that run there. So they've been a long-time customer. And then, of course, as a development partner, we're deep into the Teams Room ecosystem. We have several products that are certified Teams Rooms. At Enterprise Connect, you probably saw the announcement. We're the first manufacturing partner to release a BYOD Teams product with our Air Media wireless conferencing solution. So we have a fantastic relationship there with Microsoft. We also have a great relationship with Zoom in Zoom Rooms. And we have a number of products that are Zoom Room certified, including our multicam solution was just recently certified with Zoom, scheduling panels, digital signage. At the show, we also showed our controls integrated into our control interface, integrated into the Zoom Room experience. And so deep partnerships there. We know that customers really rely on that. And then, of course, we've also been partners with Cisco for quite a while. We have native integration with some of our control products to work with Cisco. And so, they come to us. We work on a lot of projects, AV control and distribution and all of that. But those are our primary ones on the UC front.
Now, back to the One Beyond and the multi-camera thing, that is kind of like independent technology, right? I mean, I know you want to get certified and everything, but it doesn't really require an integration to Zoom or Microsoft or Cisco. It should kind of work by itself, right? Is that correct?
Yep. That's exactly right. So it will work with any of the other services too. It is independent. In fact, you can also integrate it into a competing or an alternative MTR or a Zoom Room. Right? So if you have a different platform that you want, but you want this intelligent video multicam experience, we can support that as well. Right? Again, we want to provide our customers the most choice to deploy technology, and And so we give them many of those options.
Fantastic. Let's shift gears a little bit to yourself. You're in a beautiful part of the world, Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine what you do for fun. I imagine there's a lot of outdoor activities involved.
Yes. He's, of course, referring to that white powder all over the mountains. I think it's called salt.
Salt, exactly. Yes. That's right. So much outdoor activity here, which I really love. On the weekends in the winter, it's skiing. Except for we've just gotten so much snow lately, the resorts can't even open. It's just a wild thing. So a lot of skiing, a lot of hiking and camping out there. So it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But I love to travel around and visit our customers and our partners and eat all the great food. That's one of the wonderful things about Barcelona, right? You're out till 1:30 because you've spent all night over some really great tapas and great wine. And it's really wonderful.
Good times. What are you looking forward to coming up? Any trips, travel, events, or otherwise on the agenda?
Yeah, we actually have an event that we call Modern Work Summit. We're back in Spain, in Madrid, at the end of May.
You pick the worst places for events. I think Dave will have to go to every one of them, actually. But yeah,
I know,
terrible,
totally.
Terrible.
No, it's we're actually really looking forward to it. We're going to release several new products. And we've got we'll have Microsoft there. We've got several customers, really big name customers that are going to talk about what they're doing.
All right. What is this conference? What is this event?
It's called Modern Work Summit. It's May 23rd and 24th in Madrid. And it is not a Crestron training event, right? It's not a Crestron sales pitch. We're getting together and talking about the trends, that are driving the future of work and modern work. Hear from partners, hear from customers, right? We talk about those kinds. How do you evaluate your readiness to embrace modern work, and where should I look at, investments and that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we'll unveil several new technologies as well. It's a great event. And then 2 weeks later, we'll be in Orlando for InfoComm, and so that'll be also a really great show.
Yeah, it's great to see the world returning to normal, and it's good to see you guys helping that transition. So, yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks so much for joining us on Talking Heads. Really enjoyed the chat. Dave only screwed up once or twice, which is a record for him. But we're just going to say goodbye to the audience here, and thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed the conversation as well.
Well, Dave, that was really interesting. I didn't know much about Crestron, and it was quite insightful and illuminating.
We both moved recently, and I had a huge investment in the home automation in my old home, but it was
you had a mansion, basically. Yeah, I'll say it. Yeah.
And so I'm ready to make another investment in all the tech has changed in 15 years, and are you going to put in any home automation into your place?
I have a hodgepodge of half-working Alexas and Googles and Siri devices. It's a complete mess. Maybe I need to call a Crestron partner and really come in and do this properly.
There's so much that I really am missing from my old house that I don't have in this current place because you get used to a lot of that technology. It's fantastic. I'm going to start with lights. I got to figure out the lights. I should say at the start, I did put in some electric curtains, but it's just like everything is available, but getting it all to work in a seamless environment, that's a whole nother story. And I'm finding that I don't have time to figure it out. There's so many different people to talk to about this.
Well, I can barely get this podcast to work. So yeah, we should do a dedicated session. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for watching. We look forward to our next guest. Until then, take care.